So, over the last 4 months, I applied for and was approved over 524 for 2 Chase Ink business cards as a part of my greater strategy in 2024 for applying for 1 ink card every single quarter. And well, folks, since I hit both welcome offers on both Chase Ink credit cards, amounting to over 200,000 Chase points that have now since been transferred to Hyatt for some awesome vacations later on in the year, it's now time for phase 3, baby. And this time around, we're not going for the unlimited, we're actually going for the Chase Ink Cash. So you might be wondering, like, Anthony, why aren't you going for the Chase Ink Unlimited this time? Why are you going for the Chase Ink Cash? So firstly, you might be saying, like, oh, maybe Anthony just wants to get 5% back at office supply stores and buy stuff for his real estate business, or buy, gift cards at office supply stores, right? Or maybe you're theorizing that I could probably absolutely stack Chase points just by putting my internet, cable, and phone services on this card and get 5% back. Or even lastly, you might be thinking, like, maybe he just wants a good 2% cash back at gas stations and restaurants. And while all those reasons are actually really, really good and make this card really, really powerful, none of them actually apply to me in the first place. 2% on gas stations, well, I don't necessarily need that anymore. 2% at restaurants, well, no, I have an Amex Gold card. 5% back on internet, cable, and phone services, well, most of those things are actually baked into the rent alone, so they don't have their own separate payment. And no, definitely don't need any gift cards at this moment. No, a reason much greater, it actually makes this whole game of welcome offer hunting a lot easier. So for this, we're going to jump right to the iPad so I can show you this new special offer that was just announced on the Ink Business Cash. So it doesn't matter if you're on this page right here, Cardonomics and Anthony Venture at the top, doesn't really matter if it's here or just a personal link. But if you do go through here, you can see right here, the new offer on the Ink Business Cash card is earn $350, aka 35,000 Chasehold reward points after you spend $3,000 on purchases in the first 3 months, and an additional $400 when you spend $6,000 on purchases in the first 6 months after account opening. So how is this different from the old offer? Well, in the old offer, it was basically you only had 3 months to hit $6,000 worth of spend, so you had to spend $2,000 basically every single month just to hit that bonus, and it was really, really hard because, well, not that many people are spending $6,000 in the first 3 months, right? It gets a little bit, you're sometimes stretching a little bit. But now what they have effectively done is now giving you 6 months to hit $6,000 and spend, aka $1,000 per month, so I guess 50% less every single month just for a longer duration of time, which for a lot of people, including myself, is way, way easier to hit and doesn't make you scramble as much. Especially if you're a person that spends very little, but maybe you just have one big purchase coming up of $3,000. This way you could still get, at least in the first tier, 35,000 Chasehold reward points, which could be valued at, what, $350, $700, however you're going to be using those points. But not only that, it doesn't necessarily just end there, because there's also, and you go down a little bit, you could actually see there's an additional offer on this card right here that says a 10% business relationship bonus if you have the Ink Business Cash card plus a Chase Business checking account on your first card anniversary. AKA, as long as you just have a Chase Business account opened by the time your year anniversary comes up on this card, they're going to be giving you a 10% boost on everything that you actually spent on this card in the first year. The only catch, I guess, is just to apply for this card before November, but this is happening right now, right? This offer is new right now. So as far as I'm concerned, the easiest math and the best way to think about this is, if as long as you have this new offer of the Chase Ink Cash card and you have a Chase Business account by the end of the year of being approved for this credit card, then you could effectively add a 10% multiplier to all these multipliers here. So instead of 5% back at office supply stores, internet, cable, and phone services, it's actually 5.5% back on all of these same things. 2% back on gas stations and restaurants is now a 2.2% back.
Is 5.5%, which does make sense. 10% increase on the standard 5%. The main point there is to prove that it's turning 5 to 5.5%, 2 to 2.2, and 1 to 1.1.
And I guess where that could really scale is when you're spending, an insane amount of money. The cap here is $25,000. I don't know how much you guys are spending every single month on office supply stores, your gift cards and whatnot, internet, cable, and phone services. I'm spending nothing on that, so I'm not going to get any boost out of that whatsoever, but I do know there's a lot of business owners who watch this, and they do actually run up the full amount of the $25,000 bonus. So if you are that type of person, $25,000 in spend times the 5.5% in that top category would end up being 137,000 points, of which about 12,000 or so came from that 10% boost. So what is 12,000 points really getting you? Well, maybe another, a Thompson stay in DC, something like that. Who really knows? So, but of course, we know the real reason why we're applying for these cards, right? The earn up to $750 bonus, aka 75,000 Chasehold reward points, And this way I have 6 months to hit $6,000 worth of spend. So if I want to go to that offer, I'm going to hit apply now as well here. And then I'm going to hit it one more time on the actual application page of Chase. So you have to have, a few clicks just to get to this page. And even though I've done this in previous videos, not everybody has seen those videos. And I always think it adds a little bit more clarity just to see someone actually go through the application process. So it's easier for you if you do decide to go for it. And if you want to do this alongside me, there's a couple of ways to actually get to this offer. Of course, you could always click the link in the pinned comment, or you could also just scan. You could also just... No. You could also just scan the back of my shirt right here, and it'll take you right to this new offer. God, all that for a joke. Are you for real? Okay, so let's go through everything you need to know. So right here, of course, it's the Chase Inc. Business Cash. Authorizing officer title. So are you an owner? Are you the president, vice president? A lot of the things you're appointing if you're an LLC. If you're applying as a sole proprietor, like my wife is on this application, we're just going to put owner. This stuff is all basic information. So here you have two options. Just know that this one right here, the ITIN, is just going to be if you don't have a social security number for whatever reason, but most of us watching probably do. So you're going to put that right there. Again, your home address, your email address, your phone number. Okay, so here's where some people get messed up a little bit. So total gross annual income. This is not going to be from the business, but this is going to be from everything. Every income that you make. So if it's a side business, you have your main W-2 job, you have a 1099 somewhere, throw this all into here. And it pretty much spells it out right here. This is what you can earn or reasonably expect to earn in a year. If you're 21 or older and regularly use income from others to pay your bills, like maybe even your mom Venmos you for your phone bill. Who really knows? Whatever situation you're in, we're not going to judge you. You can put this all here as well. So in my wife's case, she put 39.5 here, and just remember that number because it does come into play in just a little bit. So just keep an eye on that. Legal business structure. Again, this is going to be if you have formed an LLC. If you have partnerships with other people, who really knows, or sole proprietorship, which a lot of people are doing nowadays, especially with a lot of people not wanting to form LLCs. This is going to be true of her and her business as well, so we're doing sole proprietor. Of course, if you do LLC, you're going to have to put your business legal name, so whatever you actually filed with that LLC. But for people with sole proprietors, it's just going to be your actual name, just like you wrote above. Desired business name does not matter. You could put whatever you want on there. In her case, I think she put literally Mrs. Venture. So we'll see if that comes out. I think that's what she did. I forgot the actual application now, but I'm pretty sure she did that. Does her business use another name, like a trade name? For most of us, that's going to be no. And of course, like all things, you will know if you have done this in the past, especially since your tax guy is probably going to ask you if you had that as well. Okay, so here as well, either whether you have an EIN, ITIN, like I said earlier, or your social security number, that's the number you're going to put here. These first two things, of course, are going to be things that you will have had to file, so you will have this number somewhere referenced. But again, sole proprietors, social security number. So again, you just reiterate that information, put the social security number there. Is your business's physical address the same as your personal address? For most of us who are doing Social Security, it's going to be yes. Number of employees, it says right here, enter the number of additional employees, not including yourself, so 0 if you're the only employee, and she is. Business phone number can be the exact same as your regular phone number. Okay, and then here is where I've noticed is the biggest determining factor on whether or not you're going to get approved or you're going to get those dreadful 3 reasons why you were denied. So anytime that you've seen other people get denied in their business applications, most of the time, not always, business established date is what is actually considered business structure on those denial applications. So anytime you see business structure, it's not always, but a lot of the times I've noticed, and from talking to reps, it's because your business was too new. So in my experience, you're wanting to put a date as long as you possibly can reasonably say that it was established. What does established actually mean? In the terms and conditions and by some CPAs that we've spoken to, basically it's whenever you had the thought of an idea and started putting plans into motion. Like in her example, she has a Fiverr. She works as a freelancer on Fiverr for one of her jobs. That was technically, she didn't get her first sale until March 2021, but it was established and it was already an idea that was put to paper on Fiverr in December 2020. So no, I'm not going to put 2021 because it's newer. I'm going to put when it actually was established. It doesn't have to make money to be established, right? So 2020 was when it actually was put to paper and put on the website. So that's what we're going to put. Generally, I found that anytime the business is over than a year old, usually you're in the clear, but the older you get, the less likely you're going to hit with that business structure. Now, of course, there's going to be people saying that maybe I'm wrong about certain things. This is just what I've seen and all the data that I've collaborated over applying for these few ink cards, plus talking to some Chase reps and whatnot. Annual business revenue. Again, this is all going to be estimated. This does not have to be exactly what you're doing now. If this was her first year on Fiverr, I think she only made a couple grand, and that's probably what she would have put there. You want to have as high as a number as possible, so, try to be somewhat realistic, but also shoot for the moon a little bit, like if you're going to be making maybe 3K, just, maybe 5K. We could maybe hit 5K, because who really knows? She didn't expect her Fiverr to blow up like it did, and then within 6 months it blew up, right? So you never actually know what's going to happen, what's reasonable. For her, the business actually, from last I checked, making 25K. So not crazy income, right? This is not like a 7-figure business, 6-figure business, 25K. Cool. One thing I have noticed that, again, I'm just taking data points for as many different people that I've spoken to as possible. Business category, of course, as everyone's going to tell you, just choose something as close to her business as possible. Now, full disclosure, there is nothing that I saw on here that was even anything remotely similar to what she actually does on Fiverr. However, have no fear, because if it is wrong, it can be corrected by a CPA, just making sure you find the right business category for your business. So if you're writing things off on this business card, just let your CPA know and they can actually correct it for you. In this case, since nothing was actually similar, I just went with what worked in the past, and I just made her business type the exact same one I did for my recent application, which was information, and then you have to go to business type. And down here, I went to internet broadcasting, which is social network. So I just always assumed it was social media. Business subtype is the exact same one, and it'll auto-populate an NICS. This is the one that will actually have to change when you speak to your CPAs. But if you're just getting this card for the welcome offers and you don't plan to actually write anything off in the first place, this is basically null and void from all of the powers that be that we've spoken to so far. So I don't know if that's too in the weeds, but this is just relaying information that I've learned and something that I'm doing personally. Estimated monthly spend. Again, a lot of people are going to tell you to be truthful, and I think it's okay to be truthful, but to exaggerate just a little bit. And in my case, I just thought realistically, like normally if you're getting this card, you have to spend $6,000 in 3 months. So you are going to be spending about $2,000 a month, or at least I have been in my cases for my last 2 ink cards. So in this case, I'm just going to do the exact same thing. Now, of course, since they're giving you 6 months, you could technically say $1,000. Okay, cool, because that's realistically what you are going to be spending over the next 6 months. I'm still going to put $2,000 because that is actually on par with what I am going to be spending on this card. And I'd rather show a higher number because you just look like you're more money making for the banks, right? So I'm all for trying to make the banks as much money as possible while trying to make me as much money as possible. Okay, so if that's all understood, in the last couple of things is adding employee cards. I just say no, I don't really need them. And go paperless. I always say yes, go green, whatever. And then something interesting I noticed here that is different from the Chase Ink Unlimited is it actually says if you're approved, your credit line will be at least $1,100. Because on the Unlimited, I think that's $3,000 or $4,000 is the number. So that's pretty interesting. She's already filled out all of her personal information on the application now, and now we're going to hit submit, baby. All right, so while we're rating, we're going to put her data points together here. So my wife is at 324 currently. She also only has 2 hard inquiries in the last couple of years. Her credit score right now is 760 on the low end, I think, if you're actually checking FICO, and like 790 if you're checking VantageScore. I mean, who really cares about that score, let's be honest. And while we're rating, maybe just go down there, subscribe if you want, just for my wife for being such a game time player, applying for these said credit cards, so this way we can keep taking some awesome vacations. Very, very cool of her. And we're also trying to hit 10,000 subs so we can make it to the most dangerous hotel in America. And oh my god, look at that, baby, we're approved. Oh my goodness gracious, we are approved. The plan is all coming together, baby. We are now at 3 out of 4 inks for the entire year, which means technically we only need 1 more ink card to really fulfill my goal of getting an ink every single quarter, and we're pretty much way ahead of schedule. So again, if you want to apply for this new, special offer on this Chase Ink cash card, you can always click the link in the pinned comment down below. That's always the easiest way, or scan the QR code on the screen on the side. And if you do use my link and are approved, let me know in the comments below so I can give you a hearty handshake in advance. And as always, let's keep getting some awesome life-changing vacations together with these awesome credit cards while we can. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you.